Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome back to DeFi Live. Today, we are talking about, with my lovely panelist here, we're talking about Fiat Gateways and DeFi. Joining us today is Ross Kelly from TrueLayer, Parker from Outlier, Outlet Finance, about to say someone else then, Outlet Finance, and Peter Wood from CoinPass. Welcome, everyone. Thanks for joining, and maybe please introduce yourselves one at a time. Ross, you want to go first?
Yeah, happily. My company's not actually called Ross Kelly, but it's
Sorry?
I,
So Ross
um,
Kelly from, no, sorry, I've doubled up my notes.
that's all right. That's all right. Yeah, yeah, good. No, I don't quite have a self-titled company yet. No, so I work for an open banking firm called TrueLayer. We essentially facilitate instant payments and payouts for any kind of financial services, e-commerce or iGaming platform. I work on the financial services side and specifically on crypto. So would love to talk more about what we can do for crypto exchanges today.
Amazing.
Looking forward to the
Uh,
chat.
yeah, and Patrick from Outlet Finance.
Yeah, sure. So I'm Pat. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Outlet. Outlet is a application and neobank designed to replace your bank account, entirely powered by crypto. Right now, we are only available in the US and we are expanding internationally in early 2022. Yeah, go check out our app. It's in the App Store.
Amazing. And Pete, wrapping up with the UK crowd from CoinPass.
Cheers, Jeff. Yeah, so I'm Pete. I'm CEO and co-founder of CoinBurp. We are a UK cryptocurrency exchange. Yeah, I guess that's where we began a couple of years ago, but we're venturing more into DeFi. Raised a bunch of funds back in June to build a few things, a C DeFi wallet, so to connect the custodial stuff with what we're seeing in DeFi. Also an NFT one-stop shop, and yeah, more recently next year we're going to release an NFT play to earn game as well.
Amazing. Must touch on that. So let's just get started with all the people in the audience. Probably, everyone wants to do something with DeFi, something with NFTs. It's kind of where finance is going to go. But tell us in your own words, what is the current climate, the current state of play of the crypto market? And how does the average user gain access to decentralized finance solutions? Like, if we're talking about a full A to Z, what is your opinion and how good is it or how bad is it? Ross, if you want to go first.
I think our view on it is, it's still fairly nascent, and the way that we can help actually get users access to DeFi or to centralized finance even is we're trying to make that whole process more straightforward and a bit less alienating for anyone who's new to it. And so how we do it, so taking a quick step back on that, open banking, which is the sector we operate in, that launched in 2018. It's been a big success in traditional forms of like wealth management or trading. So some of our clients are Revolut, Freetrade, Nutmeg, Trading 212, and we've seen the demand from crypto as well. Like if you just look from a pure payments volume perspective, there is a huge demand for users who want to be able to instantly top up, instantly withdraw. Whether that's like hard-earned Bitcoin or Ethereum investing, or if it's a quick trade on Shiba. They want to be able to withdraw that quickly. And actually, it's interesting what you say about the NFT side. We're working with a few more companies now who are looking to build NFT marketplaces where the launch and the ability to take those funds out quickly are paramount to user experience. So we're very much in build mode there. Our belief, which is extremely biased, obviously, is that it's not perfect yet, but we're trying to help everyone get access as quickly and as instantly as they can, really. So that's kind of where our heads are at with it.
And Patrick, I mean, we're talking, the three of us are over here, in the nice, chilly, balmy, warm UK, and you're our counterparty across the pond, and obviously a completely different experience over there. What is the kind of state of play for a US user that wants to get access to a true DeFi solution now? What is it? What's kind of the climate over there?
Yeah, so right now, like Ross was saying, it's not perfect. I think some of the better products for true DeFi native folks are honestly going to be using a centralized exchange and moving it over to a DeFi wallet still at this moment. But like talking a little bit about Outlet, essentially that's kind of why we started this company, to really make it simple and safe, non-crypto user to get involved with DeFi directly. So we just give users the opportunity in a simple product that just feels like your traditional bank account, to go ahead and earn these types of yields, go out there and lend and market make, in a simple strategy and single balance. We're launching our debit card this month also, completely attached to these DeFi accounts. So I think it's going to be one of the better user experiences, particularly in the US. But I think right now there's a lot of room for improvement in the US. Clearly, regulation has gone a bit crazy, but I think we'll talk about that a little bit later too.
Yeah, and Pete, in your words, what do you think the state of play is, in your opinion, in the UK?
Depends what type of market you're talking about, to be honest. I mean, DeFi is obviously quite vast. It's large. I mean, you can go anywhere from, I think what Patrick's targeting is more sort of borrowing and lending type protocols in there, or on the other side, you're looking at NFTs, play to earn, GameFi sort of thing. And those type of audience are completely polar opposites, right? If you want to attract an Axie-like audience, right, that's more right mobile friendly. You need someone who doesn't necessarily need to understand the specifics of borrowing and lending with compound and more complicated protocols in DeFi, but they do want the upside of play to earn games. So it is, of course, like as a brand new industry, there are tons of verticals that are being established within there, and there are, I think the one that really sticks out for me is the NFT and the GameFi stuff. It really translates well in my view anyway for what's currently happening in sort of the Web2 space. But of course, there's a requirement for sort of what Patrick's building, right, and to be able to facilitate what I feel is the next generation of tech and future of finance in DeFi as well.
And Patrick, you touched on this just now, and it's obviously a really clean segue. Is definitely the regulation bit. I mean, no market on earth is developed or efficient or liquid without effective regulation. But there is a point where it goes too far. We've seen a lot of regulators pushing back strongly against crypto, just as simple as Bitcoin. Before we go into the next layer 2, which is your regular Ethereum protocols, platforms, DeFi, everything else that goes above it. What do you think regulators need to learn and embrace to ensure that DeFi has a chance to go mainstream?
I personally think that the SEC, I mean, this is just kind of like a wild theory, right? But in my personal opinion, but
we're all here for wild theories. This is DeFi Live. That's what it's about, bro.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I just think like it's a bit unfair to bundle in this new technology with rules that were made in 1933. And I think like maybe there should be its own agency, right? I don't know exactly what that would be called or names, but particularly in the US, right? I can't really speak too much on outside of the US regulation. I don't follow it as heavily, but I just think it's unfair, right? Something that was completely unthought of or unheard of at that time, and you're making rules around it as if it was. So, times have changed, but at the end of the day, we want to be a compliant company as well, right? And operate. So.
For sure. And Ross, when you obviously with your platform Truelayer, I mean you're a P2S2 compliant company. I mean, sorry, offering that protocol to different types of businesses, and you sit there as as kind of a hub and a conduit, offering a tech layer. What do you think the regulators need to kind of embrace to bring DeFi not just to your clients, but I mean as an ecosystem as a whole?
Yeah, it's a really interesting question actually, because as you say, we're the conduit for that, we're the payment processor for these platforms who are looking to serve their users. We almost have the debate internally sometimes because we have our own compliance functions, and obviously that they want to make sure that what we're doing is going to be above board from an FCA regulation perspective and all that. But clearly within crypto, and especially within DeFi, that can be a more challenging task than just saying, this is a regulated broker that we can work with. Personally, I think, and this is going completely outside of wearing my Truelayer hat, how do we make it more mainstream? Well, I think things like NFTs and collaborations for artists like Damien Hirst, I think will actually only serve to show to a kind of mainstream art collective, for example, that this is a technology which isn't just going to be a fad. This is here to stay. The more that happens, the more it normalizes it, the more it becomes mainstream. So I think essentially the more big recognizable corporations that can get behind it, like for example, just top of my head, I know a big sports brand who might be doing the equivalent of collectibles, but they're doing it through an NFT now, or maybe focusing more on that side rather than the decentralized exchanges, then that could in turn make it a bit more. But I think it's a conscious effort that we all need to push on. And I think you guys organizing an event like today can only serve to help it.
And Yeah, and Pete, we have very similar businesses here in the UK. We've both worked with the FCA. Let's use that. I mean, for yourself, I mean, you're obviously starting to build a C DeFi solution in your platform. We'll talk a little bit in a moment. But I mean, what do you think the FCA need to kind of look at as a positive form or a positive lightning rod in the space to being DeFi that little bit closer to being acceptable?
Yeah, I think all it stems down to is the type of approach. Are they going to take a sit back and watch type approach, or are they going to look at regulating first and then watch after? And that's the big problem we're seeing with some regulators, not just in the UK but in other countries as well, right? They would prefer to really restrict the growth of an industry like DeFi first, and then trying to really build the products and businesses within there, which in my opinion is the wrong way to go about it, right? We should be
Mm.
encouraging business, and we should flourishing businesses to grow within a new sector that could revolutionize the future of finance. So look, I'm sure the DeFi is on the radar of the FCA in somewhat. I mean, I know they're battling with more the custodial, the knowns, right, the Bitcoins, the Ethereums, and this sort of thing. But yeah, I just hope when they finally do get around to really having a look at DeFi that they do take this sit back and learn approach rather than an overbearing regulation that I've seen in other countries.
For sure. And this actually came out one of my other panels today as well. We talk about progressive decentralization. We're starting with, a centralized counterparty where there is someone to answer for it. There is a business and a brand and a registered address running it, and there are ways to get good yield on assets. Do you feel that? And I'll start with you, Patrick. Do you feel that starting with a kind of centralized finance with a crypto layer and progressively moving to DeFi might be something that helps move DeFi into a mainstream adoption?
I mean, that would be, it depends on the company, I think, right? Like DeFi is not necessarily a net positive for every single company you go into, I think. Like a company like ours, I would totally agree with something like that, actually. And I've seen that a lot, right? Like you could argue recently that ENS just did that, right? Where they originally just a centralized org, now they did this airdrop, right? Are officially like a decentralized org. Um, and I think that's honestly the best way to go about this going forward. I think it's going to be the meta where you kind of find this certain amount of product market fit, and then you go out there and kind of scale your community a little bit further by sort of decentralizing yourself and just giving forward to this ownership economy that we're kind of seeing emerge in DeFi. So that's kind of my take on it, and I know that Outlet feels the same as a team as well. Like we want to reward our earliest users who took a chance on us when we were a centralized counterparty, and I think it's going to be a strategy going forward for a lot of
Yeah.
companies.
And I mean, I suppose this bakes into, and Pete, I suppose bakes into your CDFI platform that you've built. If you want to touch on that a little bit, does that kind of lend into being a progressively DeFi sort of protocol, or is it somewhere in between centralized and DeFi?
Yeah, I personally, my thoughts are that progressive decentralization is the future. But of course, you can't, as a regulated company, decentralize everything, right? We can't leave the decisions all to the community and the token holders. I think the regulators won't allow that. But we can take the real positive pieces of decentralization as we go down that road of progressiveness, right? So things like being able to dictate what maybe the roadmap takes us. That sort of route, I think, works really well, right? It's a balance, and yeah, I think it's for me with that you have to identify certain verticals within the company and understand what can be decentralized and what can't. So yeah, like you, Jeff, I don't imagine you could, even if you wanted to, right? I don't think the FCA would be quite happy with you maybe giving up some decision making at the top level, sort of board decisions up to the community as a whole. But there are certain things in dictating roadmap and product features and stuff,
Sure.
which I think can work really well.
And that's the thing, like you say, it's a blend, right? It's a blend, and you can allocate certain parts. So, like comes to your community and your culture. There's something. What I think there's something different for everyone in this space, whether it's investing in the future of finance, or you're a Bitcoin maxi, or a particular like your one, Ross, Ethereum maxi. I thought that was awesome. It's probably the best intro I've read all week. But lending to which parts of it can you bring the community into your culture? How many people can you bring into your ecosystem for a positive net effect? And yeah, same same question for you, Ross. Do you believe that this progressive approach could be the better way to do things instead of just going hardcore cold turkey DeFi?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it really resonates with us because, like I said, we're still, as a firm, fairly nascent into even crypto, let alone DeFi. Moving too fast into that will just alienate people. It will scare some regulators off, as Peter put really nicely. There are some lines that we have to be within in order to be compliant for the FCA.
Yeah.
But gradual movements, and yeah, there's been some big ledgers that obviously have been affected by that. But gradual movements and I guess a mentality shift for it can really help that.
I suppose and you brought this question up, Pete, in one of some of our original agenda, and I've kind of tweaked it a little bit, is that we've got this, the UK government, I suppose a lot of governments right now are experimenting with CDBCs, which are effectively, the crypto version of fiat with, is there programmability, is there privacy, still a bit unknown. But there becomes this opportunity now where CDBCs in custodial wallets could be one of DeFi's, greatest hits. They could be bringing a huge amount of emphasis on DeFi solutions with CDBCs. So, how do you feel? This is one for you, Pete. How do you think fiat-enabled custodian wallets are going to perform?
Again, it's a decision on where as I say, we enable a fiat wallet for custodial wallets and platforms. It depends what that then goes on to connect to, right? Let's take GameFi again as an example, because that's what's blowing up right now. NFTs and GameFi, I think, is super popular at the minute. If you have a game like Axes where you don't actually need a fiat-enabled gateway at all, right? What these people over in Asia, and look, my mum's from Philippines. I'm sure I've got a few cousins over there that might even be scholars on Axes themselves, but they're able to get these Axes and earn SLP and AXS and actually pay for wages, right? They've created this economy which is completely closed loop, this ecosystem where you can pay absolutely nothing and earn SLP and AXS in token form and use that to pay for services and goods, right? It's this closed economy where you don't need that. So, but something like I think what Patrick's doing, look, I think his target audience are more sort of Web 2 familiar customers who want to get exposure to Web3 protocols. And they're saying, look, well, I'm getting 1% interest over in old school legacy banking, and I'm getting 5% over maximum.
That's funny.
Yeah, it depends on the audience, right?
Very cool. And Patrick, I mean, is CDBC something that's been discussed in the US? Having a fiat equivalent token similar to a stablecoin, but one that's already on ledger, something that doesn't require a banking connection. Is there any of that kind of stuff being talked about at the moment?
Well, actually, recently Biden said don't exactly quote me on this, but his administration was claiming that banks should be the only people allowed to issue stablecoins in the U.S. So that really leaves like CBDCs as one of the only solutions, actually, if that future were to really happen in the next coming years, right? Or people like Circle need to actually become a bank, like et cetera, right? So CBDCs, I think, is going to play a huge role in the future, actually, in the U.S. if that comes into play. Right now, I think Celo actually has like the best platform for CDBCs. I know they're actually targeting. They had a whole conference about it. I know they're targeting real institutions to go out there and do this on the Celo platform. We're also partners with Celo. I think if anyone's going to do it really well, it's actually going to be them.
Great. And I suppose, Ross, so what's your opinion, or what's Trulay's opinion, in terms of having proper custodial wallets that are fiat and crypto one and the same?
Yeah, absolutely. So what we'll do at the moment is we'll build a fiat on ramp. So essentially, it will start with fiat for the user, and the exchange will turn that into crypto. We have a product called PayDirect, which is essentially an external wallet which sits outside of the merchant's bank account, and essentially is that exactly. It's a custodial wallet, which means that you can facilitate funds going in, funds going out, and also a verification element to it. So that's actually what's being more popular with any kind of exchanges, any ledgers, wallets. CoinPass are actually one of our customers, which is great to see. MoonPay, we facilitate lots of payments through them. And yeah, essentially that's where we're looking at for now. We want to get to a place where we can actually go create crypto to crypto, crypto to fiat. But that's all in build mode. Luckily, our CEO Francesco is a big DeFi bull himself, so it's quite easy to get innovations in the space signed off.
Amazing.
Yeah, so
Very good.
watch the space.
Excellent. So we've just got a few minutes left. I've just dropped in the chat to see if any questions are going to come up. We've talked about obviously CeFi, progressive movements into DeFi, the old way of banking and crypto maybe not being so dissimilar, maybe trying to be the same thing into a digital blended layer. That's one of my goals and one of my visions for the space long term. Question here from Jamie: is TrueLayer doing all payments via open banking APIs or faster payments also?
Yeah, really good question. They're one and two are the same, to be honest with you. So open banking payments and the faster payment rails are what we use. Faster payment rails to do pay-ins and also payouts. So Clearbank, for example, who actually will facilitate our payouts, will operate on their rails to do faster payments. So yes to both, if that makes sense, because they're actually the same.
Both. There you go, Jamie.
Although it's separate in Europe. If we really get nerdy on payments.
Get nerdy on payments. That could be the next panel we do. That could be a really good one. And I suppose something for me is we talked about, I think you coined it really well, Pete, is this being able to access an ecosystem without having to like fiat in or trade your way in. I think that's something that I think is the biggest thing that crypto has brought to, I suppose, any kind of market, the pay to earn market, the what do you call it, the freelancer markets, being able to get paid in Bitcoin, paid in Ethereum, and be able to get into an ecosystem without having to pay. What is your, I suppose, future vision for that? Is it making a leap where we're more in crypto and we have these old school connections into fiat banking, or is it somewhere in between?
Look, I'd love for people to get out of this crappy legacy banking system and build some really cool stuff in DeFi. Well, man, I want this separation. I want the money to come out of legacy and stay in DeFi and stay in crypto.
Right, stay in the crypto, the ecosystem grows like
Exactly.
that, so you never have to leave.
Exactly. And I think there's multiple pieces to that puzzle, but one of them, which we definitely struggle with at the minute, is transaction costs, right? Everyone knows what Ethereum gas prices are like at the minute. There are a load of alternatives, whether there's some layer twos or some completely different layer ones. But yeah, one of the things that definitely needs to be solved to be able to facilitate that, firstly, is the speed, it's convenience, right? Why would I go up to Costa and pay $2 on a Bitcoin transaction? It's unusable. It's just pointless, right? All these maxis can talk about it being the future because it's decentralized money and all this, but it fails at the first step, right? It's just too expensive. It just won't it won't take off. So look, we're moving in that direction. There's tons of great blockchains that are really propping up. User experience is obviously super key, and there's great things being built. So I think in a couple of years' time, we're going to see amazing products, especially, I mean, I keep saying GameFi, but I think GameFi is the future personally. I think that is the easiest market to move over from Web2.
For sure. And Patrick, on that similar thought, do you think we're going to be, the crypto ecosystem, you can get in there and you can stay there, or are we still going to have to keep some old school links going?
So I can't speak too much outside of the US actually, but like that's something that we're actually trying to solve. So actually an outlet in America, you'll be able to like connect your wallet itself. So these wallets and bank accounts are completely attached to each other with outlet, right? So you'll be able to like, for example, hook up your outlet account essentially, which is a wallet, directly to apps like Coinbase, like Robinhood, like any other application, and never have to like leave crypto, right? But you'll eventually have to, because the other apps only accept fiat, right? But it'll just feel like nothing. It'll feel like dollars the entire time. And I really like what Peter was saying about like, they should never have to leave crypto. That would be ideal, but other merchants only accept fiat and stuff like that. So it becomes a bit of an issue like that. But I think there's like connections in between, right? With like debit cards, just simply use like stable coins themselves as payment. I think it's going to be more broadly accepted in like years to come. So like, although that sounds super ideal, there's some caveats to that, to like actually making it possible right now, I think. But in the future, it'll be very easy to do that, actually, I think.
For sure. And closing out the question, Ross, what are your thoughts on that? We're going to have an ecosystem where, even TrueLayer itself, maybe TrueLayer is the only connection back to banking that any platform really needs. and we can all stay in crypto land.
That sounds amazing. I think where we stand at the moment, it's like to put it in simple terms, we are literally a connection to the bank. So if someone wants to top up one of their exchanges via their Mondo or their Starling account, for example, they'll do it via ourselves. Is there a world in future where actually your centralized crypto is in Coinbase and then your DeFi exchange is elsewhere and the connection is us? I mean, that sounds epic. Definitely something we'd love to build. And I think particularly as there are more companies facilitating physical payments through crypto, I think it's absolutely a possibility. But yeah, we need to sort the gas fees out, as Pete said.
Well, I mean, it comes down to the proof of stake. I mean, when ETH2 is delivered in our, I don't know, late 60s, it'll be fine. You know, proof of stake, proof of work. But no, really good. So, I mean, thank you again to my fellow panelists. It's been an amazing chat. I know I could sit here the rest of the day and do this. Love talking crypto, love exchanging ideas, seeing stuff from other sides of the pond, people in the same country and people that are building platforms for the better. I want to thank my anyway. So I'm going to round it out now. Thank you very much for joining us at DeFi Live, talking about fiat gateways in crypto. It's been amazing. I want to thank Peter Wood from CoinPass, Ross from TrueLayer, and Patrick from Outlet Finance. Thank you for joining me today. And if you're at the live event tomorrow, please reach out and come say hello.
Cheers, everyone. Absolutely. Thank you very much.
Thanks so much, guys.
Bye.
Catch you later. Thanks. Bye.